I think Batchoy is quintessentially very much Ilongo, just as pancit molo or kansi is to our region. I think it's one of those Filipino dishes that is super underrated. High five.
What's going on YouTube? Today I'm really excited to show you this recipe video because it is with a chef that I've been really excited to meet, really excited to showcase, and also really excited to just eat her food. Today my friend Yana will be teaching us how to make this dish from her native province of Iloilo called La Paz Batchoy. Yana's claim to fame is that she is known for being the Kamayan Queen, and for those that don't know, Kamayan is a very visceral, intrinsic part of Philippine culture where we eat this large spread of food with our hands. Yana is incredibly special because she basically did these Kamayan meals, which require a lot of time, a lot of preparation, and a lot of food in all 50 states of America. So today's dish is from Iloilo, which is one of the islands in the Visayas located on the western side. They are basically known as the food capital of the Visayas. So the dish that she's going to be making today is something that is one of the iconic dishes of her province called Batchoy. Yana basically equivalates it to being the Filipino version of ramen. Like ramen, the broth is extremely important and is the most difficult and time-consuming part because it is comprised of 3 to 4 different kinds of stocks. Chicken, pork, shrimp, sometimes with beef. It's a complete umami bomb of flavor. I definitely remember the first time I had this dish in Iloilo, I was blown away. Without further ado, let's learn how to make Iloilo's La Paz Batchoy. So what is Batchoy for all these viewers that don't know what it is?
I would say the closest thing that we can relate it to is ramen. Batchoy, when broken down into Hokkien, is Batsoy, which means meat soup. It's essentially a combination of different offals and bones that are thrown in together to make this super flavorful broth. It's going to have the egg noodles, which is very crucial to Batchoy. Like, you can use other noodles, but egg noodles are what is traditional. I would say if you can make your own egg noodles, great, but if not, like, the store-bought ones are just as good. Other offal cuts like kidney, spleen, liver, lungs, topped with chicharron. Right. And that's kind of like the whole essence of Batchoy. Traditionally, it would have been those things, but today we're going to have pork belly, pork liver, and chicken chicharron. With Batchoy, it's really extracting the most flavor that you can get from what is discarded, and then made into something that people, like the masses, would actually eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, because it's so nourishing. Yeah, and when I went to Iloilo the first time, this is something that I had for breakfast, and yes. I was like very surprised that something so rich and heavy was something that I was like eating at 8 a.m. in the morning. This is a very good example of a zero waste cuisine. So this one that I made recently is a combination of oxtail, duck, and chicken broth. The secret ingredient to Batchoy is the ginamos. So ginamos is kind of like bagoong, but it's the fresh bagoong. So it's the krill that's been salted, and then it's slightly fermented, so it's like pink. It's not like bagoong where it's brown because it's been sauteed. In traditional Batchoy, you'll have beef bones, pork bones, chicken bones, and then shrimp shells and heads. But this time, we're kind of modifying it to what broths I have at home. The first step in making Batchoy is making the broth. If you go to your butcher or any grocery store, just ask for beef bones, pork bones, chicken bones. You can roast them to kind of extract more flavor. Or if you don't really have that much time and you're like, I need Batchoy now, just put it all in one pot, add water, let it boil for at least maybe 2 to 3 hours, and then you can simmer it. And then once it starts to reduce, you can take the bones out and then that's when you add the shrimp heads or the dried shrimp to add more flavor to your broth.
After making the broth, you're like done, basically,
Yeah.
right? So traditionally, as you were telling me earlier, you pretty much add all like the spleen, the kidney, the pork belly into the pot and let it boil all together.
Yes.
But you're gonna be adding an extra step.
Because I love having different textures, and in that way you can enjoy the pork belly in its finest form. Traditionally, it's boiled. Everything's boiled together with a broth. It was conceived near the market, so all the butchers and like meat purveyors didn't know what to do with the discarded meat, or like the meats that people didn't buy at the end of the day. And so someone was very enterprising and was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make a soup out of all the offal, the bones, and everything in between that people didn't like, and then pretty much added the egg noodles, and now it's like that's the daily man's sustenance.
Yeah.
Batchoy, which also is the same with ramen in Japan. The other thing that you can do as a trick to add more flavor to your broth is mince your garlic and onions and fry them separately and brown them on a pan. And then once they've browned and become clear, you can add them to your broth. And then you can either just let it stay like that, or you can do an immersion blender to just make sure the flavors get deep in that broth. With batchoy, usually all the meat and the noodles would be the same texture, which is soft. I personally don't like that, so that's why I wanted to deep fry the liver and the pork belly and the chicken skin, so that when you're eating batchoy, it's not just soft all the way.
So once you have your broth ready, make sure you have a separate pot of boiling water to boil your noodles right before you're ready to serve. After that, add the toppings. Like Yana said, we did take the extra step to deep fry our pork belly and liver, but you can just take it the traditional and easier way and just put it all in the pot together. And to add more flavor, add some freshly chopped green onions, garlic chips, and anything else you want. After that, you're done. Alright, hey guys, thank you for watching this recipe video on how to make batchoy. Hoping that you guys can make this at home. Very easy to make, just time consuming, and something that I really encourage you to try. It is a regional dish that you can probably not even get anywhere in America unless your friend's Lola made it for you growing up. If you want to catch Yana on any social media, check her out at Salo Series on Instagram, or check out her book.
It's called No Forks Given, and it's available as an ebook right now on my website, so saloseries.com/noforksgiven. Publishers, call me. Cool? Salamat!
Tune in for the next episode where we're gonna be making a dish from the Visayas called barbacoa.
Ooh, I want to go on that one.
Yeah, for sure, Monday.